This is our first community meetup as part of the Smart Citizens program. We're very, very excited to have you here. I'm Ellie, and I look after the Smart Citizens program. I'll be facilitating the event tonight together with the organizing team. So we have Sophie working with me on Smart Citizens. We also have Liz working on the preventing plastic pollution in the city. They're also coordinator and co-organizer of the meetup. Later on, you'll get to meet with Kate and Mallory, who are our guest speakers for the evening. And yeah, so the meetup is a very informal event. So we really wish we could have been, in the same space with you, just eating pizza, getting to know each other and sharing ideas. Unfortunately, we're sort of having to do that online to start with. So I hope you're all comfortable with a glass of water, warm drink, or a beer next to you. And yeah, we hope you're going to enjoy the session. So tonight you should be able to find out more about the theme of this evening, which is plastic and tech. We're also going to get to know each other a little more, and more importantly, we're going to share ideas and share about initiatives that are happening in the city around reducing plastic pollution in Plymouth and the region through and using the power of community and technology. So to start with tonight, I am going to tell you a bit more about smart citizens and digital fabrication. So through the program, we deliver a wide range of events, workshops, and training. We're opening Fab Lab Plymouth to communities. So we support citizens in learning key skills to design and make almost anything. So objects, products, artwork, and that's using digital fabrication and cutting edge technologies. So our objective through the program is really to empower a community of citizens makers and help you, support you to sort of come up with innovative solutions to make a more sustainable Plymouth. So this couldn't come at a better time than the times we're in now, which are the very middle of the COVID-19 situation, where we're realizing how important it is to have cities that can be resilient, fab cities that make everything they need and consume. And Kate will tell you a bit more about that later. But to do that, we need citizens makers. We need citizens that can consume but also make different things, and that's where having maker spaces like the Fab Lab can really support with that. So that's really the sort of Smart Citizens program in a nutshell, upskilling communities around ways of making things locally and using digital technologies. So we're part of a much wider project, which is called the Flower Project. So really looking at enriching lives in Plymouth, making Plymouth a better place to live in, to work in, to visit. So we work with a total of 7 partners in the city, and we're sort of focusing on things like the creative industries, immersive technologies, digital fabrication, but also business support. So we're funded by the Arts Council England, which means that all of the activities that we deliver are free and open to everyone. And I think that's pretty much it about the program sort of in a nutshell. And now you might be wondering, okay, what do I actually mean by digital fabrication? Well, to put it simply, digital fabrication is a manufacturing process, so a making process, where the machine used is controlled by a computer. And there are 2 main techniques that are used when it comes to digital fabrication. The first one is additive manufacturing. And I always want to say additive manufacturing, which is kind of true, because when you get into it, it's proper addictive. But let's go back to the sort of official additive term, which comes from addition, right? So if we take the example of a 3D printer, you have the material coming from an extruder head, which is going to start building up your objects from a bed, layers by layers, very thin layers, and you can see it on that little image that we've got here. And gradually, it's going to just make the object that you need. So it can take hours, days, depending on the size of your project. But that's pretty much additive manufacturing in a nutshell. And what's really sort of interesting about it is that there is no or very little waste material generated from that process. And then the second technique is subtractive manufacturing. So it's the idea of subtraction, so taking out the material. So you work with a block of material, and then the machine is going to either cut through or engrave, or literally very, very extreme detail, take out the material to reveal the object that you want to make. So what makes it so revolutionary in a way, that digital fabrication, is just the fact that what you need to know is how to design things. So you need to have these, what we call the CAD skills, so computer-aided design skills, to be able to design the object that you want to make. And then it's just a case of uploading that file, sending it across to the machine software or the machine itself, and then getting your settings right, and then pressing on start, and it's going to do it all for you. So again, that could take seconds, up to hours or days, depending on the size of what you want to make. But that's where there is a huge potential with digital fabrication, and it can produce, so make things in a small scale, which is really ideal when it comes to community needs and local production. And also, the sort of good thing about it is that sometimes you might think of something that's quite complex to design and you might not be able to do it. Well, don't worry, there is what we call the sort of distributed design. So some people might have done and designed what you need on the other side of the world, and they've made that design available and free online. So in that case, it's even faster. You just need to download the file, upload it onto the machines, and there you go. So in terms of material, it goes from the very sort of thin sheet of paper up to very high density material like metal, stone, glass, but we also use biodegradable materials such as PLA plastic, which is made out of cornstarch or sugarcane, and also wood glue. So that's a very sort of short intro of digital fabrications. And now you might be wondering, interesting, where can I do that? So we're based in Fab Lab Plymouth, which is inside Plymouth College of Arts. And the Fab Lab is linked to a wider sort of network of Fab Labs across the world. So Fab Lab stands for Fabrication Laboratory. So it's a place to create, to invent, to play. And there is a lot of prototyping going on as well, because it's so low cost to produce and to make things in small scale as well. It's a great place to experiment and design new things. So that's us in a nutshell. We're linked to the Fab City initiative, and Kate will tell you a bit more about that later as well. So there are more than 1,750 Fab Labs across the world, which is quite impressive. And obviously at the moment with COVID, we are focusing our support and our activities online. So we do deliver plenty of activities, workshops and training online, focusing on the CAD skills, so working on the software to design things. We'll give you more examples about the type of things that we can make. But in terms of support and people that we reach, we tend to work a lot with citizens, with students, with entrepreneurs, artists, and companies. So I think that's pretty much it in a nutshell. I'm going to hand it over to Liz, who will tell you a bit more about preventing plastic pollution. Over to you, Liz.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. Good evening. Hope everyone's all right. It's good to be here. Yes, as Ellie said, my name is Liz, and I work at Plymouth City Council as a Natural Infrastructure Officer. And we're really excited to be part of a project that's called Preventing Plastic Pollution Project. And it's a European funded project that's working across France and England. So it's got sort of international appeal, which is really exciting, especially in these times of change, to keep a link with France. And the project is based around understanding and reducing the impacts of plastic pollution on the marine environment. And there's lots of different ways of doing this, but our project has taken a slightly different approach. And what it's looking at is catchments, river catchments. So there are 7 different catchments in the whole project, 4 in the UK and 3 in France. And one of those catchments is the Tamar estuary. So what we're looking at is a kind of source to sea approach of how plastic pollution gets into the rivers and then into our seas. And we are trying to think about ways that we can understand where this plastic's coming from. And then we want to look at how we can remove the plastic that's there, and wrap that all up with thinking about how we can involve communities and people, businesses, clubs, groups, all sorts of people in doing that with us, and learning about how we can prevent some of this plastic that gets to the sea. I don't know, in fact, people like facts and figures, but 80% of plastic from terrestrial sources eventually ends up in the sea, which is a huge, huge amount of stuff. And there's something like 4 million tons of plastic waste that goes into our seas from the rivers every year. So there's lots to work on, there's lots to do. And I think people do understand that there's lots of plastic litter around, but I don't think people always connect up the fact that if they drop something well away from the sea, but it can still get into a river, and then it can still get down and become marine pollution. So I work along with a chap called Chris, who's unfortunately on holiday this week. He was really excited to have been here if we were here last week, but he's on holiday. But Chris and I work together, and we have lots of different initiatives that we're sort of working on. But the project is very much geared up to trying to find out what's happening now. So there's quite a large part of our project that's about sampling and finding out what's out there and doing beach cleans, so that we can find out what plastic is about. Most of those would be on sort of waterfront and beaches around Plymouth area, all the way down the Tamar. But sometimes we're trying to look under the sea as well. So there's lots of different aspects to it. And I think some of those undersea bits will come in later on when Mallory has a chat with us. But the project is looking at things like reducing plastic footprints and changing behaviours, and introducing circular economies into what we're doing. So rather than just collecting plastic and then thinking, oh, aren't we good? We've collected plastic, we'll take it to landfill or to the incinerator. We're trying to think what we can actually do with that plastic and then bring that back into the economy and work and use it again. And that's partly where we're sort of really keen to have joined up with Ellie and her team, because with the tech and the technology available, we're hoping that we might be able to use some of our plastic that we collect to bring that round and work into the technology and the printing and the 3D technology, and use some of the plastic we've got to make more useful things that we can then put back into the economy. So that's one of the really exciting things that we can do together. There's a huge amount going on in the city about plastics at the moment. There's all sorts of amazing initiatives and groups and people, individuals, communities, all sorts of people who are keen to get involved and make a difference. And our project works alongside a lot of those other groups, and is really keen to draw people together and exchange ideas and information, and link up those amazing kind of light bulb moments so that everyone can maximize what we do. So that our project is kind of running over a few years. So we have got plenty of time, which is good. And one of the really exciting things about being here today is to get to know and meet some other people who are keen to make a difference in the city. So we're really excited to be part of this, and to get some ideas. And as we move through the evening, I think lots of different opportunities will come up for people to have their say and make some opinions. But one of our really exciting opportunities is to get some ideas of names and people who want to be involved further down the line. So as we go through the evening and we pick up on ideas, I'll be putting up some more stuff about what we can do and how we can get you involved in what we're doing. And then, you know, just to give you the chance to talk to us tonight or later on, and sort of begin to get a community together. So a community meetup, get our community together so that we can really make a difference and reduce plastic within, you know, within the city. I think that's probably it, really. I think we're going to cover so much more later on that I don't want to go over and over it. But basically, we've got a great project going, lots of opportunities for people to get involved, and we're really excited and pleased to be here. So thanks very much.
Many thanks, Liz. That's great, and really pleased to have you on board as well. So yeah, thank you for that. That was great. So because we're having this meetup online, we thought it'd be quite nice to do something different to get to know each other a bit more. But before we do that, I just want to look at some really nice quotes Mallory shared with us to sort of put us in the mood for this evening. So if we look at the first one, it's from David Attenborough, so with a lovely photo of the hoe, and it says, "What goes into the ocean goes into you." So very strong quote here. We've got another one with the beautiful Smithson Tower from Sylvia Earle. It is the worst of times, but it is the best of times because we still have a chance. So come on, guys, we can do this. Great quote from Sylvia Earle. And the next one is from Robert Swan. So it goes by, the greatest threat to our planet is the belief that someone else will fix it. And I think we do tend to think so sometimes, but it's up to all of us to make a difference. And I think that's what we're going to try and do and keep doing tonight. So the last one is from Anthony Hinks, and it says, plastic will be the main ingredient in all our grandchildren recipes. Boom, just like that. It's very, very scary. And that's why we're all here this evening, I think. So I think we're pretty much ready, and I can see everyone waiting around on the main road. That's great. So as you can see, you've got the example with us, the organizers and the speakers. What we want you to do is add your name. Okay, so I think it's all coming together. Don't worry, guys, if you don't have time to add a meme or an image. that's absolutely fine. You can do it later on. We'll have a comfort break in a few moments, and you'll be able to crack on with that. What I'll just like to do now is have us just jump in and sort of put a face and a voice next to your little profile that's on there now. So we'll just get started. So I'll just say my name basically, and I don't think we've got time to run into too much detail, but just say your name and then hand it over to your neighbor. That should be on the right. So again, hi everyone, I'm Ellie, and super happy to be here. I'll hand over to Sophie.
Hi, I'm Sophie. I work on the Smart Citizens programme. Really great to be here. I'll pass over to Kate.
Hi, I'm Kate. I'm part of Precious Plastics Plymouth and Tavistock, which it doesn't say on there, Ursula. And now I've lost my screen to see who I'm passing on to. Mallory.
Thanks. I'm Mallory, and I run the Ships Project, and we are doing the 1,000 Tyres Project. And it's great to be with all these people. I'm really impressed with how Myra is working to use this. And to Liz Cole.
Hi everybody. I think I've already taken up my time already, so I shall pass straight over to Holly.
Hi everyone, I'm Holly. I work for Real Ideas organisation. I'm based in Cornwall, but they are based across the southwest in Plymouth, and I'm heading a project about tech for education, well, in education. So it would be great to sort of chat to some people at some point. Thanks. Oh, and I pass on to Toshiko. Sorry if I'm saying that wrong.
That's fine. Hi, I'm Toshiko Teruzo. I am from University of Plymouth. I'm just fascinated with so many people, the different activities happening already in Plymouth, and I am passing this on to Tyrone Vera.
Is Vera still with us?
She said her microphone doesn't work.
Right. Okay. That's absolutely fine. So Vera's got an interesting sort of double location based in Gibraltar and Plymouth. That's pretty cool. So welcome, Vera, and we'll pass over to Ursula.
Hi, I'm Ursula. I was doing Precious Plastic Tavistock and have joined up with Kate in Precious Plastic Plymouth. Yeah, I'm just glad to be here. This is actually the third kind of way I've interacted with the Fab Lab and Ellie, and everything you do is really interesting and exciting. So this does not disappoint at all.
Thanks, Ursula. Passing on to Emma.
Hi, I'm Emma. I work for the Low Carbon Devon Project at University of Plymouth, and we're interested in engaging with anyone across Devon who are small, medium enterprise who wants to reduce their carbon emissions or be involved in any other way. So really happy to be here and enjoying the event.
Thanks, Emma. I think Gary's got issues with his microphone, and that's absolutely fine. So we'll just pass over to Victoria.
Victoria just put in the chat that she's not been very well, so she doesn't really want to speak this evening. But she has put down that she's an artist, was previously in TV production, which sounds very exciting, and also / chef. So we'll pass on to Victoria Punshan now.
Hi. I'm currently in the early stages of setting up a new clothing brand that's made from recycled materials or organic materials. And I'm just looking at ways that I can incorporate some kind of helping out the environment through the business, more so whether that's through donations or activities. And I'll pass it on to Rachel.
Thanks, Victoria. Do we have Rachel with us?
Her microphone's not working.
That's fine. So Rachel is an urban designer at Plymouth City Council. I've got a nice photo. I don't know what city is that, but it's lovely. So here to find more about new tech, get involved, meet people. That's fantastic. So passing on to Darren Lee.
Hello. I'm a first year architecture student, just new to the area, so looking to get involved. Pass to Caroline.
Hello, I'm Caroline, and I wasn't able to work it at all. I'm sorry, I'd never seen this before, so thank you for picking that up. I work for Plymouth Octopus Project, but I'm also a member of the steering group of Environment Plymouth. And I've also recently just had to set aside a plan to put a bio-solar roof on top of the Theatre Royal Plymouth because of coronavirus. But I'm very much hoping to start that up again later in the year. And I'm really excited about all the things that are going on in Plymouth right now. And I will pass it on to Terry.
He wrote in chat his microphone isn't working.
That's fine. So, so you've got a restaurant in Plymouth. That's great. That's fantastic. Well, we've got such a great group of people with us tonight. I think, yeah, this session is going to be fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us, and it's good to have you all here, seeing where everyone's coming from and what everyone's sort of expecting from the sessions. Great. I think, yeah, I'm really excited. So the next steps for this meetup is going to be to actually meet our guest speakers. So I'm going to share my screen all around again. So we've got Kate with us. So Kate, you are a scientist and an artist. You're leading on Precious Plastics Plymouth and Tavistock. Can you tell us a bit more about your projects?
Yeah, I'd love to. I'll be really quite quick because I'm quite excited to get onto the brainstorming bit of this. So we started up at the beginning of lockdown last year, and we really quickly gathered loads of really interesting people into this project. Lots of artists, scientists, environmentalists, entrepreneurs, all sorts of people. Precious Plastic is actually a global initiative. Ellie, do you want to share my slides, and then I'll sort of whiz through them a little bit?
Yeah.
So yeah, so it's a global initiative started in the Netherlands by a guy called Dave Hackins. And basically, he came up with some really low-tech, easy ways to recycle plastic. So it's really simple. You just basically shred it, and then you can redesign it either in molds in an oven or in an injection molder. And he has kind of revolutionized plastic, particularly in those countries. You can see there's a map here of the world, and especially in these countries with not too much recycling infrastructure, people are recycling their own plastic and creating all sorts of useful products and making businesses out of it in countries where it's really handy to have a new business. Do you want to move on to my next slide? So we are at the moment part of a Real Ideas organisation project. So through Start Something, we have a space at Ocean Studios, although COVID has kind of put a bit of a downer on us doing very much recycling at the moment. But when we can, we would love everyone to get involved. People can perhaps collect plastic for us. And then what we'd really like is people who would like to get involved in getting creative with the machinery that we've got. Which is, and these are Ursula's machines, which have come from Tavistock. I don't know if Ursula wants to jump in and tell us a bit about them at all, but but this is a shredder here. You put the plastic in the top, and the blades inside shredded up into little plastic flakes. And I love this old school injection molder here with a wooden handle that you turn. And so you put the plastic chips in here and they get heated up, and you can put a mold on the bottom to create something new. And what we're really keen on doing is creating interesting, useful things like light sockets, like soap dishes, like perhaps furniture and bowls. We don't really want to create any new bits of plastic tat. And what I really wanted to show partly with that is that we've got this huge plastic problem, and actually recycling plastic is actually really simple. Plastic is really well designed for recycling, and we're just not doing enough of it. It's part of what I would like to talk about. But also, I don't like the idea that we think it's okay to carry on as normal because we can just recycle everything. So another idea which Liz touched on as well is that it's quite possible to recycle your plastic into filament that you can use in a 3D printer. We're not at that point yet, but there's a company called Fishy Filaments in Cornwall who are doing this from recycled fishing nets and using it to create new products. Perhaps we can develop this a bit. And then the other thing that we've really been doing, especially since we haven't been able to do much recycling at the moment, is trying to engage people in the idea of valuing plastic, disposing of it properly, and just generally taking care with plastic, maybe trying to use less if we can. So we've developed this funny character, this Dr. Dot character, who we've made these little like mini magazines, little comics to engage kids with, or, well, everyone really. Do you want to move on to the next one? And then this is another idea which I'd like to do. We've got some money from POP to make our character, to animate our character. And what we're hoping to do is make stickers that perhaps we can get people to put on their rubbish bins, so that we can see. So what we're going to do is we're going to pick the easy wins, like which plastics are really easy to recycle, like your milk jug and your margarine container, and Dr. Dot can juggle with them, and then you'll be able to see what should go in your bin. Should we move on? We wanted to do some myth busting, but I don't know if it's really the truth. Shall we move on? We need people higher up the chain to tell us about that, really. And then Fab City, I think is a fantastic initiative, that Plymouth is the first UK city to sign up to be a Fab City, and that's saying that we will be self-sustaining by 2030 or 2054, I'm not sure which, but just even moving towards being self-sustaining would be fantastic. And that means that we're going to have to deal with all the waste that we produce. And that's a great business opportunity for lots of people. So I hope that from this group we can start to engage businesses who might rise to this challenge. Should we move on? And that's just thank you. Thank you for bringing us all together. It's really exciting. And I'm going to stop there.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you, Kate. That was great. So moving on to Mallory, who is going to be presenting now. So she's our guest speaker as well. So Mallory, you are an archaeologist. You're the director of Tyres Plymouth, and you're also leading on the 1,000 Tyres Project. Can you tell us a bit more about it?
So the Ships Project's been running for about 10 years, and what we've been doing is looking at the maritime history of Plymouth, but a lot of times underwater. So we've been discovering shipwrecks, and we've been working with Plymouth University with the hydrography department to survey shipwrecks and also look at what the bottom of Plymouth Sound looks like. And over the last like 10, 12 years, we've collected a lot of data of the bottom of Plymouth Sound, and we realized that there's a lot of trash on the bottom of Plymouth Sound. And for people who don't dive, there's this idea that the underwater world is very pristine, and shipwrecks have masts up in their sails, and it's all very Pirates of the Caribbean, and it's not like that at all. And it's hard to get people to see this stuff because video of an area where we don't have exhibit, and sometimes like working in Jenny Cliff, you have about a couple of feet if you're lucky. So video won't work as well. So when we started to like pick out these images, you can see very large areas of what underwater, what that looks like. And you can see what's on the bottom of it. So we came up with this idea, and we talked to some of our volunteers about it, and we talked to Luke Pollard about it because we weren't really sure if it was a good idea. But they all thought it was a great idea, so we launched the 1,000 Tyres Project because the tires that you can see on the foreshore are actually the biggest producers of microplastics, and tires in general produce chemicals when they leach out, especially in the foreshore, and the ones that are intertidal. So they leach out lead, mercury, zinc, and the biology that's growing on them then has higher amounts of these chemicals, and also plastics, because you can see from the tires that's pictured here, you can see small pieces of plastic and rubber underneath, but what you don't see is the millions and millions of pieces that you can't see by the naked eye that's now going into our food chain. The other issue is with the kind of bringing awareness to this, is that if I saw it recently over at Mutton Cove, there are people who are picking up and taking mussels and sometimes oysters that are growing on tires to then eat. So it's kind of about getting this awareness out. And so mainly the Ships Project has been working in an heritage sector, but the tech used to find shipwrecks is the same tech that you can do to look at seagrass beds to see how they are, they're growing, their extents, and also to find trash or abandoned material on the bottom of the sea floor. You can go on to the next slide. Do that. So as I said, we've been working and doing marine geophysics research for quite some time, and we also work with MSUB. So just this week we were out testing mayflower in the Sound. And the tech that's used in the industry for offshore and for the oil industry and for ASVs and USVs is the same tech that we're using to find the tires. Let's go to the next slide. There we go. So this is a high-res sonar picture from Sonodyne because they let us use their kit, which is really nice. And what you can see from here that I've pointed out is that there's probably about 28 tires, and that's just off the breakwater fort. And these, because they're not buried, they are also producing microplastics. Some of the things that we don't know is what else are they producing that might be harming our environment. Because recently they realized up in Washington State, there's been killing off a certain species of salmon up there. And they realized that there's water catchment areas that weren't being filtered, that the tires that were involved there, the water running through them and going to the salmon, because they did trials with it. It's a certain type of chemical that's used in the tires to stop the tires from eroding from UV light that are killing off the salmon. So these are things that, we're only now looking into, which is, I think one of the awareness aspects of the 1,000 Tyres Project. And then the next slide is location of tires off Mount Batten Pier. And this is from our GIS. We don't have all of the survey data, which is one of the reasons we launched the Tyres Project, because we need really high res sonar, which is called Solstice, to get that type of like detail in our imagery where you can actually see seagrass on the seabed. So that's one of the bigger things that we want to do. And then on our website, we'll have all the coordinates to where the tires are at and on the foreshore, which then comes in with like foreshore cleans and working with someone else to kind of recycle this stuff. So that we can have, we want to develop an app. So if a diver, like our divers go out, they find a tire, they can tell us where they found it at, and then we can add it into the data set. And then if they remove a tire, then we can say which one has been recovered. So you can have like, you know, we can have live feedback coming back and forth. And to the next slide. And this is, sorry?
I think there is a link.
The mapping of heritage and ecology, is that the one that you've got up? I'm on Myra, that's sorry. Or is it the breakwater? You're on the breakwater. Yeah. Could you go up to, I think it says 7. Mapping heritage and ecology.
Is that the one?
No, I think it's two before.
There we go.
That's fine, we'll talk about this one. So this is a good example of what the sonar can kind of show us. If you were to be diving in this area, you wouldn't be able to see all of this at once. And because this is a very, very large area, but the sonar gives us this ability also from like an artistic point of view, because we're working with Mohini Chandra with Plymouth College of Art to kind of use this information and like visual representation of what's underwater to bring it to like a wider audience, because this is actually very high-tech stuff that we never thought about in that way. But it has a very eerie, you know, almost like walking on the moon appearance that would like to use also like an education purpose, where we send out packets to like kids and they help us figure out what are we looking at and how many tires do you see, because then you can also you can see on the bottom of Plymouth Sound, there are hundreds and hundreds of cables from all of the world wars, copper cables, which is covering up the archaeology, which is sometimes where we thought were cannon sites and shipwrecks, they're actually it's just trash. And then over in Jennycliff, we can see hundreds of abandoned lobster pots, trawl wire, and trawl warps. So if we go to the next slide. So that's the areas that we have mapped of Plymouth Sound with Solstice. So you can see there's a lot of areas that we don't have mapped. So we right now probably have about 300 tires within that area, and we haven't looked at everything. That's just kind of a ballpark. So you can imagine what we are probably missing. I'll go to the next slide. So this is kind of something we've learned with doing that's multi-beam sonar, side scan sonar, Solstice, and make a 3D model. Which is over by Mallard Shoal, which shows the seabed around it. So that the big picture long-term idea is to get all of this data together and to create a 3D model of what Plymouth Sound looks like from bottom at like 30 meters all the way up to like your seashore at Jennycliff, which you need, you know, you need to have all of this stuff collected, which is something that many people have wanted to do, but you know, we have to kind of bring it all together for, you know, the right reasons. And is there one more slide, I think?
No, I think that's about it.
That's it, okay.
Yeah. Great. So thank you for that presentation, Mallory. I think it's providing so much context and background information that's going to be really helpful for what we're going to be doing next, which is the interactive workshop where we're going to be brainstorming ideas. But before we do that, we're just going to take a 5-minute comfort break. So do not leave the meet, just mute yourself, turn your camera off and go off, get yourself a nice drink and take a break from the screen. Think about these ideas, what's been presented to you, and we'll see you at 6:40. Right, so welcome back, everyone. I can see that some of you have a warm drink. That's what you need. So we've just realized we had some. I think we were quite optimistic with the timing for this session. So we've only got 20 minutes left, and that's less than we thought we would have to spend on this, especially the interactive activity. So I'm going to ask everyone to stay with us an additional 15 minutes, if that's okay. Just so that we've got enough time to share ideas together. So I can see that everyone's sort of back on the Miro. That's great. Some of you have started adding some ideas. That's fantastic. So I'm just going to use the timer here because that's going to help us keep track of time. So if I just do that. So we're going to be spending 5 minutes on the two first sections. So here we're asking everyone in the room, what do you think are the main causes and issues of plastic pollutions in Plymouth and the region? So as you can see, we've got a few causes already. So urbanization, I think it is said that by 2054, it will be 70% of us living in cities, and that's going to obviously make pollution much higher because we're going to be all sort of consuming and wasting in one main space. And I think that's also what's happening in Plymouth. And the issues that we're seeing from that are loss of biodiversity in our oceans. I think something else that we can add, and feel free to jump in, but we are seeing more in terms of issues, bioplastic. So these are the very small particles of plastic that are being washed away. So it starts with a bottle of plastic, and then with the waves in the sea, just turns out and becomes really tiny pieces of plastic. So that's an issue, a massive issue that's killing many different fishes and species in the ocean. So and obviously harming us as well, because when you eat fish, you eat what comes in it as well. So do feel free to jump in. I'm just gonna make sure we sort of look at all the different things that everyone are adding up. So non-plastic options not always available. I think that's true, and we're seeing it a lot when we go for a walk or exercise, and you see these little coffee places not providing with non-plastic cups, for instance. That's where having a sort of reusable cup is really important. And what else do we have? Rubbish from people's bin being spilled by bins falling over in the wind, or seagulls. Absolutely, I think we've seen it a lot over the past couple of weeks. So that's just more rubbish in the streets, and then the wind is just gonna throw them to the sea. So great point there. Not enough care by people to look after their own waste. I think there is a whole lot of work that can be done around raising awareness, and I think some of the projects that are with us this evening are working on that. What else do we have? Lack of education about how it affects people. I think that's absolutely true. And do feel free to jump in and add details about the different ideas that you're adding up. I think we're sort of covering it now in terms of causes and issues. I do remember in terms of issues, I do remember Mallory talking about the amount of plastic that was pulled out of Plymouth Sound over the Christmas period. Mallory, do you want to jump in and tell us what the amount was?
Yeah, so over the between Christmas and New Year's, the Catwater Commissioner does a lot of job of helping to clean up the harbors and that. And they had 4 released GRP boats that they had to get rid of, which they ended up having to scrap because there isn't a process at the moment to deal with those. But they also pulled out 50 tons of plastic from within the harbor in Plymouth Sound.
And that's only over the Christmas period, right? This last Christmas.
Yeah, so that's about between about 25 days. It's quite a lot.
Yeah, it's huge. It's huge. That's that's a crazy issue. So moving on to the sort of ways in which we're already tackling these issues. I think as some of you have added, we're sort of reusing plastic, recycling plastic, although only 9% of the plastic is being recycled, globally. So we're still not doing enough around that. I think there's been a few campaigns around, banning single-use plastic and the plastic bags as well. So that's one of the actions that's been taken as well. What else do we have? Small businesses making it a priority, absolutely. Teaching and educating people, young and old, yes, definitely. We've also got the community beach cleans, and Liz and Chris are doing quite a bit of work around that, which is fantastic. Help us to identify tires on the foreshore. So that's Mallory's project, and you'll find out that there are ways for you to get involved, which is fantastic. Reusing items as much as possible. Definitely, I know that. There are some sort of giant trash collectors as well. I think there is one in the Pacific Ocean to just collect trash. Zero waste shops, that's a fantastic alternative as well. More conscious buying, not buying new, plastic-free Plymouth, which is it an initiative from Environment Plymouth? Do you remember? I think so. Joining activities, spread the word. Reusable coffee cups, absolutely. So I think we're getting good sort of overview on how we tackle these issues. Something else that is quite interesting as well to sort of tackle that linear waste, linear process of just using things and then just disposing them and throwing them is the circular economy. So I think that joins up with the comment around circular products, and it's about using, reusing, regenerating, and I think we can definitely follow that those circular economy principles. So we're going to have 10 minutes now to sort of work on the other things that we can do. So sharing ideas, thinking big, and then you're going to see how that's going to translate gradually to the main point of this meetup, which is really find out about ways to reduce plastic pollution using tech and technology. So just going to put the timer again so that we keep track on time. Reset. We put 10 minutes there. So there we go. Okay, so We've got plenty of ideas already. That's fantastic. So, help the younger generation realize they can make a difference in their careers, such as pursuing a career in tech that would work towards solving issues with plastic pollution. Absolutely. I mean, there are many different programs now that allow you to learn these key skills or study these sort of new technologies that can help tackle that. I think we've got quite a good example here in terms of tech innovation. So you can see it with the different arrows. So if we want to, by removing a tire reef in Plymouth Sound and just replacing it with something holistically designed. So we've got a great example of some seawall that's been developed in Sydney, in Australia, and that was 3D printed, and that's creating a sort of place for different species to live on. So it's just promoting biodiversity, and that's been using concrete and recycled plastic. So great example here, and why not do that in Plymouth as well? Absolutely. Again, guys, do feel free to jump in if you want to talk about a sort of idea that you have. It's all about thinking big on this one. You're going to see how literally we're going to shortlist the solutions and take it from there.
If I can jump in with this, because the tire reef that one of the things that we've gotten some feedback on is the issue of removing tires because they are homes to lobsters. However, tires as an artificial reef source, because there's several artificial reefs made of tires that have had to be removed because of the damage they have caused. They aren't good areas for breeding lots of different biology because they are too open. They're not designed well in that way. And also there's even evidence of certain species being able to tell that they're leaching chemicals, and they won't then grow on tires. So there's a small tire reef in front of the breakwater fort, which we want to remove, but we want to have something that we can put in there as well. And not only because we want to replace a home with one that we're taking away, Plymouth doesn't have an artificial reef source that you can get to easily when the weather's bad for divers, as like a commercial, as something that we can then like kind of lure other divers here. They come here for the wrecks as well, but it would be nice to have something that, you know, you could have like an entire tour of to go to.
Mallory, someone was wondering earlier who actually throws the tires into the Sound. Where is it? Just who is it?
Oh, how do they get there? Yes. So so there is there's issues that's come from the fishing industry. We know from doing some oral histories that they were used sometimes to weigh down warps and nets that were no longer wanted. There's also evidence within the Tamar of large dumping collections of tires. And then there's also like the small use tires that go around, like your tugs, certain work boats, because they are very robust, and using when one falls off, you just put another one on. So that's really what you were seeing around the breakwater fort. Those are just like, there's probably about 20 around the breakwater fort that we can see easily, and that's just from falling off boats and such.
Mallory, one of my favorite little places to stop off is the National Lobster Marine in Padstow. I'm wondering, they use, it looks like roof tiles that they use for their housing and for the lobsters in their nursery. I wonder if there's a link there for you to work with them to design something that would sell itself as a tire replacer.
No, that's a very good idea. It's great. Thank you.
They always have the most fascinating information, because apparently they are the forefront of lobster research in the entire world. That little place in Padstow. because there's not a whole lot known, because lobsters have such a strange life cycle. So they'd be probably really supportive of anything that would improve lobster life out elsewhere.
Yes. Yeah, we'll have to get in touch with them.
I'm just really interested in talking about, we talk a lot about personal responsibilities and things that we can do as individuals. And I think that we're doing that because we're not getting the movement we need on a sort of larger scale. So I keep putting notes in there to say, this needs to be coming at the very basic start of product development. And I feel like one of the biggest changes that needs to happen is that the cost of your product throughout its entire life should lie with you. So if you make something, whether it's plastic or glass or a precious metal like palladium or something like that, I think we need to rethink the way we cost products, because people are basically not having to, when they make that product, incur the cost that we all are actually paying for that product when it ends up in the place. So whatever we do, I want to start talking about, and this is a design thing for the Fab Lab, and I think it should be a course about, the product that you make is going to have an impact for as long as the life of the things that you've put into it. And that impact should be part of the cost that we sort of say that you should bear when you make that product. So if your product is really long lasting and it's made of something that's really easily recyclable, then great. Then you're going to not have any tax, and we're going to just encourage you to make that product because we know that that is going to be a useful, long life, little cost product for us long term. But what's really bizarre is that the cost for these tiny plastic things, which we've discovered in Precious Plastic, little tiny cracker toys that are going to last for millennia, that cost less than a quarter of a pence to make because the product is so cheap. But actually its effect will be so long lasting and have such a huge long cost. And I say it's like we've reversed the cost and we put it all onto consumers, and then we're sort of saying, well, the solution is to get people to recycle and do. And the more I've been involved with the project, the more I've kind of come to the other conclusion, which is no, it shouldn't be the consumer that is trying to fix that cost. Somebody shouldn't make that cracker toy out of plastic. That plastic should be really expensive for them to use for something that is going to be used one day. So I think on a larger level, there's a place that we need to get people angry enough to say, why is that person able to profit and go all the money up front for that cracker toy and then never have any of the costs that the rest of us are going to have? Which, Mallory, it sounds like amazing what you're doing, is, having to go and put all this time and energy and money into just cleaning up tires. So,
well,
anyway,
the good thing is about this, that the UK and EU Tire Manufacturers Association has got on board with the idea, and they want to help us. They think that there should be an end-of-life process, because the other thing that you realize when you pick up a tire is their name is on it. You know exactly who made it. So they are behind this idea. The next thing is trying to get the boat manufacturers behind the idea of putting a cost on, which is like about 40 quid on the buy of a new boat, so that they can go into the proper recycling of GRP, which is amazing, like a massive amount of the microplastics that we see, to get them off the foreshore. So it's kind of about bringing awareness and also lobbying this idea.
Yeah, I think bringing together different sectors and making it easier for them to do it as well. I think one of the problems is that the ease of doing the recycling of some of these things is it's not, you have to really go out of your way. So,
oh yeah, the tires thing specifically. So there's lots of places around us that will take the tires and turn them into plastic crumb, but that doesn't help the overall effect. They need to be turned from waste into energy. They need to actually be used into like black carbon, and there's only one kiln in the UK that will take the tires and to work with us to then take to use in like furnaces to produce cement. So it's it's about getting all these connections together so that we can make it easier, because if it's not just Plymouth that wants to do this, Torbay is interested in doing this. There's some guys in Cornwall that want to do this, and it's really about creating this avenue so that we can do it.
Yeah, absolutely, Marie and Ursula. I think, yeah, there's some great insight there, and we should be paying the true price of product that will have an impact on our oceans, on the environment. So we'll be doing some workshops and running some workshops around that sustainable design within the program, and I've made a note of that. I'm just aware of time, and yes, so I think we've got so many ideas. We're now going to just move them across and then sort of shortlist them in a way to see if they fit within the categories that we have for this evening. So we've got community, technology, and other. So we're going to specifically be able to support some of the community and tech ideas. So that's why we've decided to do it that way. So I'm just going to scan some of the ideas and move them across. So reusable packaging, I think there is an opportunity for some new design there. So I'm just moving into technology, tax manufacturers on product life. Well, I think it's a great idea, but maybe on others.
There's quite a few art ones actually, Ellie, that we could put into community ones. So there's making art from waste and creating opportunities for art, which is exciting and something that we're kind of planning to do as well.
Absolutely, and if we can, help with that as well, we'll be more than happy to. So what else do we have? Let's have a look.
Make recycling fun. Yeah, I think it's quite important to try and lighten the mood sometimes as well. And it is a really serious issue that we're dealing with. But if we can make it enjoyable and rewarding, then I think we might attract even more people to join the cause.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll move that one across to community. What else do we have? So I've seen something that was around tech. Yeah, it's 3D printing filament with recycled plastic. So we're keen to explore that as well.
We had a really successful festival, and maybe when we get out of COVID, it would be something for Plymouth to do something like it. We called it EcoFest in Tavistock. And one of the things we did is provide a marketplace for products that were eco-friendly at that. So including, really expensive things like BMW cars that are green energy. But yeah, I mean, thanks. That's nice, Nikki. Thank you. But that was the goal, was the fun part. And it was a celebration of some of the products that can replace, so that people don't think that it's all about just not eating meat and living a really austere life of no products at all and not having anything, and really revisioning that to something that's a celebration of forest schools and all sorts. So
yeah, building on that as well, I think events in general, the more we can make public events plastic free, the better. That's another sort of thing that Plymouth is actually quite good at, and is quite sort of is leading on, is trying to create plastic free protocols for events and activities, and encouraging people who come to us to do that as well. So I think Sail GP are coming in July for one of the big boat races, and they already have incredibly good sustainability and eco credentials, but I think we can learn from them and they can learn from us. So I think having events that promote sensible use of plastic and options and different options available is a really exciting thing for the city as well. And people can get involved with that as well. They can go down, they can see, they can join in, and they can learn while they're there.
Yeah, the two other supports there are Southwest Water does a refill station that they can provide at events, so that you can have water refills
Okay.
from a local water supply, so that you can encourage people who attend the event to bring their own water bottle, so that you don't have to provide bottled water or anything in plastic. So that's something, if somebody wants a contact, I can help with. And the other one is North Devon has a guide for running plastic-free events that they put together. So
Okay.
Plastic-free North Devon. So that might be one that would be useful.
Yeah, that would be good to link up, because we as part of the PPP project, we'll be looking at protocols as well, and seeing what we can do, joining up with ones that are already within the council, but looking at sort of wider ones for the city as a whole. So whether it's one you want to do yourself or whether you join in with a bigger one. But that's North Devon, you say?
Yeah, North Devon's.
North Devon.
It's the North Devon plastic-free
Yeah.
North Devon, I think is.
Okay. Yeah.
Can I just jump in on the making recycling fun and sort of educating people? I think I've heard, because I haven't met anybody except Kate, I know Kate, and the projects that people are doing are absolutely amazing and so interesting as well. And the sort of projects that I'm helping out with at work is basically digital skills pilot, where we're curating resources to send out to a number of schools, and they are going to try and encourage young people, so children around 12, 13 years old, to take up careers in tech. And they're trying to sort of change and shift people's perspective on careers in tech, of it's not boring or sat in front of a computer. There's loads of really amazing opportunities, which is really clear just from being in this this group of people. Obviously what Mallory, you're doing, and Kate's doing, you're using tech to make new things and to solve a problem. So just basically, if anybody is interested in being involved in the way where they might be able to sort of talk a little bit about what they do, any video footage of the machinery that you use, like at the Fab Lab, anything like that we could include in the project to send to the schools would be amazing, and obviously would like get the schools to know all about the projects that you're doing as well. So I'm going to put my email address in the chat box. And yeah, I don't know if anybody else wants to do that, but yeah, it's been really lovely to meet everybody.
Yeah, thank you so much. Definitely keen to take you on that offer. And we've actually got a Slack channel, so you can all sort of keep in touch after this meetup. We'll share the link with everyone, because there are so many ideas. I was not expecting that many. It's just all coming together, isn't it? It's fantastic to see everyone coming up with so many different ideas. So we'll keep in touch and keep working on this. If you guys have some time to just check out the second slide, which is around how we can support each other. We've made a very sort of clear little board there with how you can get involved with the Smart Citizens program, the type of skills you can develop. We can help you to learn, the access to facilities, to material, the type of things that you could be making in the Fab Lab. So you've got plenty of example there. And if you really love the program, and same for the other project, we've all got a sort of opportunity for you to become an ambassador and spread the word about it. I think we need to communicate about what we do. There are some fantastic initiatives there, and definitely think that more people could get involved. So if you look at Preventing Plastic Plymouth, it is tricky. We've got 2 PPP.
Too many P's.
Yes. So yeah, Preventing Plastic Pollution's got plenty of skills you can develop. You've got some details around the sort of gains, what you will get from your involvement with the project, and you can also become an ambassador. Same for the 1000 Tyres Project, which is open to everyone as well. So you don't need to be a diver. I think that's the key thing to take out from this. You can get involved and there is some volunteering opportunities there, some training opportunities as well. So we'll keep this board live so you can come back to this. But we've also got Precious Plastic Plymouth, of course, with Kate. So these are the sort of things, the example of things that you can make. So you can absolutely get involved, design and make useful products, and also help towards making the machines zero carbon, which is really interesting. So yeah, do get in touch. There is a way to get involved and to engage with people around your research or your business as well. We went to the Plymouth Art Weekender together, didn't we, Kate? And we got great engagement with your shredder and the small sheet press as well. So fantastic opportunities there. And we've added another opportunity which we haven't touched on yet. I wonder if Andy is around to tell us a bit more about Plasticky. Just 2 minutes.
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, fantastic. I'm like really excited. Yeah, there's a lot of enthusiastic people there. I can tell you a lot about Tyres in the entrance to the Catwater, because I must have thrown about a dozen over in my fishing career when I was a young boy. So yeah, I know. I've seen all the problems, and when you get to the end of your career, you want to change things. And I've been lucky enough to work in multiple industries: construction, forestry, fishing, boat building, and then the last 25 years, I've looked at more sustainable materials and stuff. So I've pretty well done all the bioplastics, wood-based polymers, all that kind of stuff. But then 11 years ago, I got asked to build the Plasticky, and that was the design brief, as it all had to be made from plastic bottles. So that was 10 years ago, and I, having built it, sailed across the Pacific successfully. We worked with the best designers, engineers in California, Australia, New Zealand, and it worked. And I was really enthusiastic when I came home, 10 years ago now. And I knew the materials were really good, but a lot of the materials on the boat were virgin materials. So they were all made from virgin PET, the foam core and the composite. So 10 years on, not much has really happened. But now, looking back at it, because we've got the Plasticky in Mountbatten and we're refitting it. So I've had 18 months to constantly look at different materials and processes. So we've looked at the biggest, best 3D printers all over the world. We've looked at all the recycling technologies, different biodegradable polymers, you name it. That's what I've been on 24/7. And so now we found some new materials. So we've got a foam core that is totally made from recycled Coke bottles. The skins are still virgin, because the composite skins, because you need the strength. You can't get away from that. You know, recycled materials just don't cut high performance materials at the moment. But no, we've got it. Now we've got the processing, so we can make a high performance boat, not just any old boat, but a high performance boat from Coca-Cola bottles. But so I've got 3 months to do a refit. So hopefully the boat's got to be finished in the end of May. And then the whole idea. whole idea of the new project is that the boat is going to travel around the UK first and then round the world. We're having a 10-meter boat 3D printed out of waste plastic in Holland. And that is going to be called the River Tiki, and that's going to go down the rivers. And David, my boss, his focus is, he started off with the microplastics. He met Mr. Thompson and Professor Thompson in Plymouth, and that's what inspired him to do the Plastiki tour across the Pacific, the microplastics. But now he's really interested on focusing on the rivers and the road plastics, the tires, the microplastics from tires, and all that associated stuff. So we're looking at going down the rivers and sampling all the microplastics, and then any of the we can put on the boat that fits in. So we'll have another small, like an ROV or something, all made from the same recycled materials, using the latest LiDAR, sonar, whatever. And we've got all the technology in Plymouth to prove kind of to the world. We've got the MBA, the Marine Aquarium. We've got the best marine science in the UK, you know, and I've done it. I've been to Southampton and South Africa and wherever else, and it's pretty good here. And so what I'm looking for is some volunteers. Yeah. To one, we've got 5,000 bottles to fit in the boat, Coke bottles, which we've got to find from somewhere, which could be done with some kids. And I'm really passionate about training young kids up, so to inspire them. And then there's the bottles to fit in. And then I've spoken to Kate came over, and she's very enthusiastic. And before, I didn't have a chance to contact Precious Plastics, but I think we could make some real good precious plastics equipment. And so we've got the whole cycle from the rubbish to 3D printing, because you can make print filament quite easily. It's not difficult. So we can do that, and then we can demonstrate to kids that we can do all that, and then link in with arty type people, and to get some stuff out there. People will be keen to see something on the lockdown, after the lockdown.
Very grateful that you've managed to join, and your project is fantastic. So as you've said, you're looking for volunteers, and we've just made a quick board, an additional sort of frame under my row for everyone to find out about what's happening with all the different projects. So have a look. You've got different links there, different contact people. Let us know if you want to get in touch with Andy. I'm sure, Andy, you won't mind if we share your email address?
No. Email and contact, and I will be in the workshop in Mountbatten. It's masses of space, so a couple of visitors, if they want to come and have a look, is no problem. Yeah.
Okay, fantastic.
And then you've got to see it to believe it, really.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll come down as well, and we've left some space for you guys. If you know about any project, any initiative that tackles the plastic pollution, just add them on there. We're going to keep that board as a sort of go-to place to connect with others. And as I mentioned earlier, during the meetup, we would love to keep in touch with everyone and keep working on these ideas. So we've created a Slack channel, which we can see on here. Just click on there to join the sort of conversation and keep in touch with everyone. And we would absolutely love to get your precious feedback. This is our first meetup, so how did it work for you? What was your experience like? Just let us know on this quick form. Again, you've got the link. We'll share about it again by email. But thank you so much for joining us, everyone. It's been a real pleasure, and yeah, it just feels like, you know, we're just so many people trying to make a difference, doesn't it? So that's beautiful, and that was the whole plan of the meetup: share ideas, find out about what's happening already. So we really hope you've enjoyed it. So time to log off now, get away from the screens, have a good evening, and we'll see you soon. We'll keep running these meetups every month or so on different topics, different challenges. So yeah, we'll see you back soon, I hope, and stay safe, take care of you, and see you soon.